This week on the WriterCon podcast.
But I, on the WriterCon podcast.
But I always say the sort of cliched, but I guess cliches are cliches for a reason. They're true, which is your journey is totally going to be different from anyone else's. So just throw out all your ideas of, stay in your own lane, kind of another cliche, because everyone's writing journey looks so different.
Welcome to WriterCon, a gathering place for writers to share their knowledge about writing and the writing world. Your hosts are William Bernhardt, best-selling novelist and author of the Red Sneaker books on writing, and Laura Bernhardt, award-winning author of the Wantland Files book series.
Writers, greetings from the WriterCon crew, me and Laura and our sound engineer, Jesse Ulrich. This is our first episode, I think, since Thanksgiving and the special Steve Barry episode. Hope you all had a great holiday, and now you're probably gearing up for the A-list holidays yet to come. Laura, did you do anything new this year over the holidays?
Anything new over the holidays? No, not really anything. Did some of the same stuff.
Did you write every day?
I work on a book every day.
That's writing.
Really my very own, but I was working frantically on book-related projects and writing projects. And I was most thankful for a return to full health after a rough year of some medical not fun things.
Absolutely. Jesse, how about you? Anything distinctive about Thanksgiving other than new felines in the house, I think?
Yeah, no, it just, I'd say a standard Thanksgiving. I mean, I guess it was less stress than past Thanksgiving. I'm still recovering from, I think, 2 Thanksgivings ago where my dad overheated during dinner and fainted pretty much and was non-responsive for a couple minutes. And he had to go to the hospital. He's fine. He was fine. But that was terrifying, and I'm still recovering from that. So Thanksgiving's always a little weird for me now.
Oh wow! That sounds.
Did they determine what caused him to?
He was having a weird medication switch where he was on a medication he didn't need to be on anymore. So his blood pressure dropped precipitously. On top of eating a lot of food and being under a very bright light that my parents-in-laws have now replaced in their dining room. And so, but yeah, that was, trying to pick up a full adult human being, as dead weight is the terrifying experience. So every Thanksgiving that doesn't happen is a plus. So,
well, thanks for giving us the proper perspective.
There you go. Yeah. Be thankful.
All right. Our interview today is with the wonderful Rebecca Hanover. She's the author of The Last Applicant, which was just released in October. It's a twisty, turny, jaw-dropping, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this is full of surprises, thriller, debut writing for novels, but she is already a New York Times bestselling author because she wrote the YA duology, that means 2 books, called The Similars. And get this, she's got an Emmy Award for writing for The Guiding Light. We will be talking lots and lots with Rebecca, but first, the news. Jesse, take us away. When I sent out the notes that I send to my partner, so we're all on the same page, I deliberately gave this story a bland title in the hopes that Jesse wouldn't read it in advance. We'll see if that worked or not. By watching.
I'm seeing the image now. So after putting in the PowerPoint. So.
And it's an AI story. There's going to be an AI story, but this one is about a Swedish startup company called Pirr. I know you all want to know that this is spelled not like a cat, but like Pirr. Jesse, that's a Swedish word that means a state of excitement. Just telling you.
All right.
This is an AI app that has been trained on, wait for it, a gigantic library of smut. Yeah, pornography, and it is ready and waiting to help you fantasize with an AI. Here's how it works. You write the first your snarl was worse than mine, Jesse. I saw that. You write the first paragraph, and then the AI takes it from there. And then maybe a few paragraphs later, you can choose what happens next. And like, I guess the spiciest ever choose your own adventure.
Yeah, okay. I'm turning around on this. I'm turning around on this now.
Now you're interested.
Oh, I like how it involves, like, you have to start it. I like this idea.
Yeah, or you can step in and write some of the story yourself anytime you want, or let the AI take over. You can even collaborate with All right,
I'm off again.
I think on the last two podcasts, I've proposed that we take up some kind of project, and clearly someone needs to take up this one, but it's not going to be us. I'm not even going to propose that we collaborate with Pirr for a story, but it has caught on with other people. According to the company, they have more than 150,000 users who spend on average 22 minutes, longer than I would have expected, in a single session with the sexy romance novella co-writer AI Pirr. Gosh, guys, I don't even know where to go first. Jesse, what do you think about this?
Man, this episode's definitely going to be rated not for kids.
Don't say that. I wouldn't do that. Smut?
Yeah.
What's smut, mommy?
Yeah. Well, so, honestly, it's a funny, fascinating idea. For the proportion of the population that can be stimulated by words alone. Like, it's an interesting idea. Like, I wish there was a tool like this for just regular stories, where you like have to start off and then you can sort of choose options. And maybe it probably kind of does exist within the sort of chat GPT world. But listen, whatever floats your boat, as long as you're not bothering other people, like, go for it. Will I be trying this? Maybe as a joke to see what happens. But now I'm kind of curious. But yeah, I mean, listen, again, as long as you're not breaking any laws, you can
okay with it?
Have fun with it. Sure.
Laura, I just want you to know that if I pick up your iPhone later today and the app Pirr pops up on the screen, we're going to have a talk.
No, you have to blame but yourself.
She was just doing research for the pod.
Right. It's in the name of the podcast. Right.
Some research, of course.
So what are your thoughts on this, Laura?
I don't tend to, I'm kind of an unusual female reader in that I don't tend to gravitate toward romance, and I don't go in for erotica either for the most part, but
for the most part
on this I had an audiobook script sent to me once.
I remember that.
I inadvertently read some. We had different definitions of heat level, but
yeah, her idea of PG was not yours, but
she was very sweet and kind when I wanted to back out of that. But anyway, we are not prudes, and I just think if this makes people happy, and like Jesse said, if you're not harming anyone else, it's okay. Like it doesn't bother me that erotica exists. It doesn't bother me that most women like to read romance. Whatever makes you happy, if it's not hurting someone. I just don't want to see anyone harmed or exploited in any way. So let me just make that clear.
Well
I'm not
said.
saying anything goes. No one should ever be harmed or exploited. But something like this, that you're using your own creativity to write a story, seems okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, is this making me sound really old? Because I think I'm with Jesse. I think this would be more fun if it weren't all about porn, If we were collaborating on a story with a computer, that could be fun. But
yeah, I mean, well, my question was going to be just like with the lawsuits against ChatGPT, like, is this stealing ideas and tropes and plots from erotica novels that already exist, and the authors are not getting paid for that? Probably.
Exactly. An excellent point. I was going to ask, where did all of this come from? I mean, is it exactly? And if this is coming from something that is exploitative in any way, then I would have to say,
yeah, I don't know where they found their smut, but I suspect it wasn't hard to find given the state of the internet these days. Okay, news story number 2. I'll start with the questions. Jesse, how many books do you have in your house?
Oh, so many.
Really?
Hundreds? Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing about 12 over your shoulder right now.
Yeah, well, these are new shelves in my office because I have so much stuff. But like, I can take a picture for our listeners if they want to see our library that is also our dining room to see how many books we have, which is many.
Okay, now Laura. Within 5, how many books do we have in our house?
1,000?
Without going over. Oh, we are so over 1,000. I think they can see 1,000 behind you, and
maybe, and we've got all
as well with me.
And that's just one room.
It's not even the room with the most books in it, but
right. And
anyway, there's
standing shelves, and
there's a point. Sort of, that I'm asking this because YouGov, and that's a website, I'll put links in the show notes, polled more than 29,000 Americans about their book owning proclivities. You will be pleased to know that 85% of Americans polled said they owned at least one physical book. That doesn't mean their collections are huge. 1 in 5 or 20% say they own between 1 and 10 books. 14% go up to 25 books. 13% will go up to 50. But overall, including ebooks, at least 69% of all Americans own 100 books or fewer. Although I have to qualify that by pointing out that 6% apparently don't know how many they own. And I don't mean like Laura guessing how many thousands. I think it's more like they don't know if it's 3 or 4. But anyway, another 25% own at least 100 books. 4% are between 500 and 1,000. And only 3% own more than 1,000 volumes. Laura, I think you and I are in the 1%. I always wanted to be in the 1%, but a different
I'm okay
1%.
With that. I'm okay with that. Like, as a child, I owned more than the majority of most Americans, I think. Christmas and birthdays, all I ever asked for was gifts of books. And so I had quite a library even as a child. So this is a little bit astounding to me. This is astounding to me.
That's interesting because one of the things this poll pointed out that the numbers don't really vary between people who do have children and people who don't. Like I would have thought anybody with children, you go out and buy a bunch of board books to read at bedtime, right? But apparently that's not really a factor here.
But here's the question. Like when they asked this question to those people, did they make sure to ask them like children's books count? Because I would think a lot of parents would either get rid of those very quickly or give them to another friend who just had kids or whatever, or not even consider them real books. At least that's as someone without kids, that's something that would pop up in my head. It's like I wouldn't consider those to be actual books.
Yeah.
So,
well, and you know, they kept saying physical books because
each of my kids had bookshelves when they were little and growing up. I mean, they all had their own little book collections going.
People are lying because I know every parent has those books. They do. They're even if you don't want them, you're giving them at some point. So
the flaw with any poll, of course, is that people don't always say the truth. They say what they wish were the truth. But if people were going to fib on this poll, they'd act like they had more books, don't you think, rather than fewer? And yet we have
I would
the majority of the people saying they have 100 books or fewer.
Again, and 85% said they owned at least one physical book. 15% of people don't own one book.
Not even the Bible.
But
Like, come on.
it just blows my mind.
Not even a textbook from school or anything?
You
I
have
think
a bookless home?
I think a lot of people
Get
are
it.
forgetting the ones that are in their attics or in closets
It
somewhere.
could be. Okay, we've run this dry, so I'm taking us back to the porn story because that was way more interesting. Here is something I didn't tell you about the company Pirr. It was founded by two people, both women, possibly not what you suspected. Here's a quote from one of them, whose name is Beatrice Buschati. Remember that these people are Swedish, but I will translate. She said, quote, "We are female founded. We have a female perspective, but the app is for everyone. We want to create a playground for fantasies. We want people to have fun and to fantasize because we also believe in what that could do with people." You know, at first I thought that was kind of what you were saying, Laura, and then because we also believe in what that could do with people, fantasizing with an AI. I'm not sure what she's talking about at that point. Can somebody explain that to me? It's probably a translation error.
Maybe, or perhaps they're thinking how this could, so even though I said I don't read a lot of romance and no erotica intentionally, I do have one author whose books I like, and they would be classified as a paranormal romance. And when you start reading those and you're getting into it, maybe those fantasies can help you connect in different ways with your partner than what you might not have done. It'll give you some ideas and some things that you can try. You can keep it fresh. Maybe it can improve relationships and keep intimacy strong just because it's introducing you to some different thoughts and ideas.
On that positive note, I think we should, although you can never get as much smut, but still, let's wrap this up. Jesse, cue up the music. Let's talk to Rebecca Hanover. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. Okay, traditional first question. If you could offer writers one piece of advice, what would it be?
Such a loaded question, but
yeah, you could probably do 20, but pick one.
Yeah, but I always say the sort of cliched, but I guess cliches are cliches for a reason. They're true, which is your journey is totally going to be different from anyone else's. So just throw out all your ideas of, stay in your own lane, kind of another cliche, because everyone's writing journey looks so different. And you can only write the stories that you can write and that are right to you. So I'll throw in a third one, eyes on your own paper. But all of these, I have to tell myself, I tell myself these all the time. So I think that's so important because you could really lose, especially with.
I love that. I love it because it's so difficult not to compare. You look out and you see other people doing different things, which we immediately relate to better things. And it's
exactly.
So
particularly in the publishing world today, so much is changing so fast. Imitation is not the way to get ahead, I think.
Right. That's true. I mean, when you think about, so many successful authors, they really have done what felt right to them. And, all those like, oh, this is what's hot right now. Who knows? I mean, there's truth to that. Sure. But that changes so fast. And if you're just chasing trends, it's never it might work out, but it might not at all. Yeah. And then you might miss writing the thing that was going to be really great, So, I just think, especially with social media, like it's just impossible to, no one can cope with the amount of if you're comparing to every post you see, you'll go mad. You'll just go mad. So
Right. No one gets everything is something I had to tell myself in the early days when I realized that although my books were selling, I was probably not going to be the next Faulkner.
Right.
Bill,
Right.
no one gets everything.
Right.
Be glad for what you got. Right.
Yeah. Could not agree more. And I've been to Faulkner's house. I'm actually from Memphis,
I have
Tennessee.
Oh.
And it's crazy. But like, didn't he write on the wall? Because he was kind of going insane a
is
little.
written on the walls in his office.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was fabulous.
He had some struggles, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't all that easy, and he probably didn't have it all. So
right,
could not agree more.
All right, great opening. Now tell us about your new book, The Last Applicant.
Yes. So it is a domestic suspense / psychological thriller, however you want to describe it.
Scary.
And thrilling, suspenseful, hopefully a little scary. I've been told it's, not the type of thing to just scare you out of your mind, but hopefully keep you up late reading and then kind of disturb you a little bit.
Yeah.
So it came out last week of October. And it is my adult debut. I do have a young adult series that came out called The Similars that came out about 5 years ago.
Which is why you're a New York Times bestselling author, right?
Exactly. That was from that duology.
Not a bad title to already have when you make your fiction debut. But go ahead.
Oh my gosh! Well, that was that series was kind of it was many years in the making, and I'm so proud of that, and also just all the readers that I connected with over that series.
How did this compare? Like we were just saying, you're already established as a New York Times bestselling author from that work. Now this is your debut as an adult thriller. Yeah. Do you think you'll keep going in both genres, one or the other? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, great question. I'm definitely going to keep going in the thriller genre. I'm working on a second one right now, so unrelated, just another standalone. Uh-huh. I love YA so much, also, and it's kind of my first love. So I absolutely hope to still write YA one day. But I am a mom of 3 kids. They're 12, 9, and 4. So there's a limit to. We all have a limit to how much we can do at one time. So I can kind of only focus on a book at a time. So we'll see. But to answer the first part of your question, I think it didn't feel like a debut in the same way that my YA books did, in the best way, because I was much more calm about it. Much more calm. So that was really nice. Like I knew the drill. I knew what the launch day would kind of feel like and be like, and it's just managing your expectations is so much easier when you know what you kind of know what to expect.
Absolutely. And speaking of your previous writing, you knew you weren't going to get out of this interview without me mentioning that not only have you previously written for the TV drama The Guiding Light, you won an Emmy for it, right?
Yes.
Holy smokes, how did that happen?
Oh my gosh. Well, I had moved to New York City after college. This was in my 20s. I, was living in a 6th floor walk up where you dragged your laundry up the stairs. And I think my roommate and I sort of split a 1-bedroom. I kind of repressed it, but they were wonderful, wonderful years, but it was, the struggle of we're going to be struggling artists or whatever. So really long story short, I ended up getting the wonderful opportunity to be an intern on the show and then a writer's assistant, which was the greatest, at the time felt like the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. Guiding Light was the most magical place because we would film right on 40. When I started off, it was on 44th Street. And we would shoot right upstairs from where, the production office was. So everything was happening and I had been a theater and English major. So it felt like a play. It felt like being, part of,
putting on a play every day. Yeah.
Yeah. Putting on a play every day. Right. It was like the gang's all here. We're going to, so it was just the minute I walked in there as an intern, I was like, how can I stay here? This is amazing. So I was really lucky. So I started as the assistant, I started writing scripts and I had a couple of mentors who were some of the established writers, and they were incredible, and they were so talented. I mean, the thing about soaps, as you know, there's a new show every day every weekday. So that's 5 hours of material. If you think about a streaming show, it's like it might be 10 hours of material for the whole season. That's it,
Yeah.
So, everyone is working that much harder with, limited budget, limited time to make something really, truly great. And so honestly, I mean, this is why soap actors can go on set and do one take, because they know the lines, they have it down. They're not going to screw up. Everyone's like time is on the line. So it was the most amazing place to learn. And I would get to write, once I became a writer, I got to write like a script per week, which is kind of unheard of otherwise. So it was a dream. It was truly a dream.
Well, may I ask why you left? What a fabulous, it sounds like a job of the century.
Yeah.
I never would have left, but all the soaps went off the air pretty much, except for whatever. Yes. I think there's 1 or 2 left. So yeah, in 2009, it ended. So we would all still be there.
Couldn't get it on Peacock or something.
I think we just missed the opportunity for that. It's okay, Leo.
Shame.
Timing just wasn't quite right, but that
allowed you to write this book.
Then you went on and you wrote the thrillers. Okay, I want to come back and talk about the different genres, because I also write in different genres.
Yes.
So I'm always kind of happy when I stumble across someone else who's doing that, because that isn't necessarily what anyone would ever advise us to do.
Right. That's actually
YA. You're moving into adult thriller. How did those happen for you?
That's a great question. I know it's interesting because now you're right. I keep thinking about YA and adult, but when you throw in the TV writing, it's a lot of different skill sets over quite a period of time. But I know what you mean. I have definitely, mixed things up. I think to me, it's all kind of the same. It's almost like if you're into tennis, can you switch to pickleball? Like, yeah, why not?
Yes.
So I don't find there's different things. Of course, there's different skills and different structures and things about each one. But at Guiding Light, I learned to outline and have a really solid foundation. So I still use Save the Cat. I think it's universal across mediums. And I'm a huge plotter, which maybe I'll save you from asking. I'm a huge plotter. I don't write anything. That is always asked. So that really, and then the character work. And on a soap opera, the character work is gold. I mean, that's really, it doesn't work if these long running characters, you have to feel like they live in your TV and they live in your home, right? So yeah, I mean, the switching to adult was not really strategic so much as I had this idea for the last applicant that I really wanted to explore. But honestly, so many YA authors specifically are writing for adult now as well. I think there's a little bit of, I think people are actually being advised to be, to diversify a bit. So no, I'm not going to turn around though and write like historical fiction. Like I'm going to stay within one of these.
Just for the heck of it.
You mentioned before that you just really enjoy YA, and then you had this great idea. I mean, I think we're of the same mind here. I think a good story is a good story, and you talked about writing what you are compelled to write, what you're moved to write, the stories that only you can. I mean, I write women's fiction and I write supernatural suspense. Again, like you, I don't plan to go write in every other single genre, but the ones that I like writing in, I really enjoy. That's what I love reading. That's what I like writing.
Same. And I probably have read, hundreds of thrillers as well as, many of the YA books out there. So yes, those are, to me, they're both very escapist. One is more really escapist. Like we're all channeling our inner 14-year-old when we read YA, and a lot of it's like those of us who grew up on like Hunger Games and Divergent and Twilight, like there's a real escapism, wish fulfillment, like all that kind of stuff. With thrillers, it's still completely an escape. I mean, you're reading, but it's, usually the protagonist is someone who's close to your own age. So you can kind of really get in their shoes. But again, the heart of it is similar to me.
Do you think those YA readers will mature and follow you into your thrillers? Because I know I get some crossover. I have a little Venn diagram of my readers. Some only read one or the other, but I've got some that are.
That's amazing that you have that. So. You have that data. That's super interesting. I'll have to talk to you sometime about how you put that data together. So it's really, because I don't know. The truth is, I don't know who, I have some wonderful folks, who show up on Instagram and message me or different things, but I don't know how old they are. I mean, and I'm not going to ask, are you 15? Or
that won't go over well.
That's not good, right? So but a couple of them have showed up on Goodreads. A couple of them showed up on Goodreads a year before this book came out to be I can't wait for another Rebecca Hanover book. And I was thinking, I hope this person's not 12 because this new book is edgy, right? But I don't think they were. I mean, they might have been a 35-year-old woman who just likes YA because so many of us do. So many of us, so definitely there's crossover. I haven't run the analytics on it.
Yeah, I mean, is that your worst worry? I'm astounded, and this does show my age, how, the new adult and the new wave of young adult, the fourth wing and whatnot is really very profane. This generation of readers does not seem to care much about language or about,
you're right about that.
Profane language, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Right. No, you're right. I probably shouldn't be worried. Also, it's very clear if you read the description, I think people will know what they're getting into. So, but yes, I think, I think there's definitely been some folks who have followed me over to this new space, which is lovely. And I so appreciate.
Well, I think you touched on this, but what's coming next? Are we going to do more YA, or is The Last Applicant the first of something, or where are we going next?
Yeah. So it is the first, of course, of adult thriller for me, but I'm working on / finishing up a second one. It's unrelated. So just another standalone thriller with another female protagonist who's got a new set of problems. And then we'll see. I mean, I really would love to kind of continue on, on this trajectory and write even more of these. And then, the YA is always there. I think for me, it'll need to kind of be the right idea at the right time for the YA. But
have you considered a series character? It seems to be what the publishers want these days. Some character that can repeat from one book to the next. Right. That's super
not
on your horizon. I'm getting the impression.
No, but you've piqued my interest for sure. So maybe, but not something.
Yeah, but thank me in the acknowledgments when you.
Okay, I will. In 4 years when I come out with that, I will.
That totally sounds great. Well, this has been a blast, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being here, and hope we can have you on again.
Yes.
When that next book comes out, okay?
Yes, I would love it, and thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks so much. Laura, you have a book that's just perfect for Christmas, don't you?
I do. It's called Christmas Spirit. It's set in New Orleans. It is filled with whispering ghosts from Christmas past, present, and maybe even future. And it is currently on sale for 99 cents.
Why? Well, we'll not get much better than that. I hope ever, because you should be compensated much more. But it's Christmas, so
it's Christmas. Merry Christmas!
And I see Jesse's put up the slide of an anthology called Christmas Tapestry, which I put together. I've got a story in it, and so do many of my writing talented friends. Writing talent as opposed to my writing untalented friends. You know what I mean. My talented writer friends is what I was going for. And the reason we call it a tapestry is because it didn't just lock into one genre. It's not all mystery or romance or inspirational. It's a little bit of everything from people who do it well using the series characters from their novels in a Christmas short story. In many cases, the first short story these characters have ever appeared in. So Christmas or not, I thought this was a terrific opportunity. And the WriterCon magazine also has a holiday issue coming out. Jesse's got that up there too. Laura, tell us what all is in this wonderful issue.
Like every issue, it is packed with inspiration and information for aspiring authors everywhere. But this time, it is like a warm cup of cocoa and packed with holiday-themed advice. Words of wisdom from some excellent writers. We have how to market your work during the holiday season. We have an interview with Santa Claus. We have so much stuff. I can't even think of it all right now.
But it's a terrific issue.
It's so good.
Humor
so
from Barry
fun.
Friedman, Giftless for Writers from Renee, and so much more. All right. Until next time, keep writing. And remember, you cannot fail if you refuse to quit. See you next time.